Can we like make sure this? Is the box going to be on screen, or are we going to?
Oh my goodness! I'm not even on the right camera. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Are we live?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think we are live.
Oh my gosh!
No, the event is starting. It says so. I don't think.
Should this be here, or should we pull it from a shelf?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I think we've been live for 18 seconds, I believe.
Oh, well, I'll just
hi everybody.
Put it back. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Watch It Play. My name is. I'm Rodney, and this is
Pep.
And we're here to do a live show. Can you tell?
Yeah. This evening was especially prepared.
We
took a lot of time to make sure that when we launched, we knew it would be live.
I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter how many times we do these things. I always think, all right, this is the time it's going to be smooth. Smooth as molasses.
We need to record these live shows ahead of time and then post them.
The problem is it's as slow as molasses getting ready for them.
You know the rule. Look, I don't need the rules.
Okay.
We know the
Hopefully
rules.
People can hear us. I'm going to bring up the chat here. People can let me. You are live. Hello, everybody. Okay, thanks for letting us know we're live.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to find a solution so we could both read the chat. We forgot about that.
We forgot. Okay, so earlier today,
we're very prepared.
To help make sure that this went smoothly, earlier today we did a quick live session kind of unannounced on the channel, and a few people jumped in, close to 100 people I think jumped in there, and it helped us work through several problems.
Yeah. I feel like a different person now.
Clearly. Because we have a new setup. We have a couple of new webcams that are going to a little bit bigger. They give us a little bigger, wider view. And we've set up a tripod here so we can see the table a little better. And I will show you that right now. So this way you can kind of see a table area as well as our faces still. And we've got no Siesta here set up. We might take a little look at how this game works. I don't know that we'll play a full game of it, but we'll try to walk you through the basic premise of it. Take a few turns maybe, enough to see Pep start to win, and then we'll just stop.
We'll stop
right there. And also, you might notice the table looks a little different than the last live shows that we've done here, because this is the table. I know there's a wet mark there.
This is just how I sit.
This is going to get uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. This is the table that used to be in the Watch It Played studios. If you don't know, we actually shoot the live shows at Pep's apartment because you have internet.
Yeah, and you don't.
I have something that's run by gerbils. It's very bad internet. So Pep actually put a little bookshelf here behind us as well to kind of fill in the whatever that was behind us before.
Oh,
that brass-looking fireplace.
Fire furnace.
Fire furnace. Okay, so now we have games here,
place.
and we have a different table. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. We have not quite solved the lighting in this area. It's night time right now, and I think you can kind of tell that the edges of the screen are a little darker than what you'd want, but
yeah, I think we need two lights.
Yeah,
I think we need two lights here because it widened everything a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, bear with us here as we work things out. But let's move on to some of our other news and items. Oh, one of the things I mentioned during the live show this afternoon, if you did catch it, was that we would have a guest. Hello, guest.
Hey there, my name's Chris.
Chris is not here. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. He had something come up at the last moment. So maybe next time we have a live show, we'll have one of our other guests on. The reason we were going to have that guest, Chris, and or Jackie, is because they're going to join us for our live playthroughs that we're hoping to do at some point in the future.
That's true, Rodney.
Ah, excellent. Okay. So we'll move on from that, and I'm going to talk about a couple other things. And listen, you guys I can see chatting in the chat, which is wonderful.
Oh.
If you have any questions that you want to ask us, we have a nice little format that we do that I think you guys kind of came up with and we've adopted, which is all caps, question, colon, space, then your question, all right?
The spacing afterwards is optional.
Well, at least one space would be nice.
At least one space.
Yeah, okay. And that will help us, as we skim through, see your questions and then try to answer them. We also have some questions from the BGG Guild, and we'll get to some of those as well. I will mention quickly, yes, this table is here because we're doing renovations in the Watch It Played Studio A. I guess this is Studio B now.
Ooh.
Sure. The satellite studio's here. And so we're just moving stuff, cleaning things out of there. Right now, the place is empty. There's nothing there anymore. And I got to actually see the shelves that they're working on for the new space.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great.
I haven't been there.
Well, it was at the shop where they're working on it. They haven't brought it over. I was over there dropping something off, and they have them, which is great. Now, we're not going to have shelves in most of our shots. As normal, we don't usually shoot in front of a bunch of games for our tutorials and our normal gameplays. This is fine for the live show, but we don't normally do that in our set. But we're going to have a separate area where we will have some game shelves for when we do table talk and things like that, right? So they've got that worked on.
Nice
and
chairs, some cigars.
No, I don't know about that. But the idea is, because I'm leaving, and we're both going to Gamma, and so while we're away at Gamma, that's a great time, since we can't record stuff in the studio, for them to come to do the renovations. So that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
So I want to address one question that I've been asked frequently, and it was also asked by Vincent Vignola on the BGG Guild. He said, "Will there be behind-the-scenes video of the renovations?"
Oh.
No, because I won't be there. Nobody will be there except for the workers, because we'll be away. So we can't really do any kind of behind the scenes there. But of course, once it's finished, we'll take you on a tour of the shooting space if that's something you'd like to check out.
Are they going to be living in your house while you're gone?
Pretty much. Yeah. So don't try to come rob my house, because there'll be people there.
Yeah.
Rob my house. It'd be like someone taking the whole house with them.
No, I think that's the phrase.
Is that the phrase?
Yeah, and trust me, I know phrases.
You do. The other day, what was it you said? That's a whole bag of worms.
That's a bag of worms. And then it was a sack of hammers.
There's kettle of fish. There's definitely a kettle of fish.
Sure.
Bag of hammers.
Yeah. Well, don't call that
or
kettle
bag of rocks. No, okay. But bag of worms, I don't know. I'm not sure that's an expression. Anyway.
Sack of nails.
So Gamma's happening after Gamma, the week of Gamma, the week of Gamma starts next Monday at the time of this recording. So that week we'll be at Gamma. Then the next week you're going on a little vacation, and I'm going on a little vacation, sort of / worky thing. And so after that week, that's when we get back. So if you see a little interruption in the videos, that's why. But that will give the workers 2 weeks to get all the work done.
Where are you going on vacation, Rodney?
I am going over to LA. I said it's kind of like a vacation work thing, because my family's coming with me, but then we're hopping over there, and me and Rich Summer are doing an event for the Jack Vassal Memorial Fund, and I'm going to be visiting with Riot Games over there, and possibly a couple of other things that we haven't quite hammered out yet. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, good. I am going to be going to Seattle to visit Bevo. We'll probably be shooting some film. Filming some shoes. We'll be filming while we're there a little bit, I imagine.
Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see you guys on our return. Of course, I'm sure Twitter will be active for both of us during that time.
Yeah.
If you don't follow Pep already, he's at BoardPep. BOARD.
Yeah, like games, not like...
I think I should spell PEP too, because it's funny, no matter how many times we say your name Pep on the show, I'll still get in the comments, how's Pat doing?
Yeah.
and it's probably because that's what people expect, so that's what they hear, you know what I mean? But it is PEP.
Recently, I met a fellow named Pat, and we're getting along quite well, and I call him Other Pep, and he calls me Other Pat, and it's great.
That's good. From the Games Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, why don't we just give him his address while we're at it?
Sure. His phone number. Okay. The next thing I'll mention is Rising Sun, which is the new game from Eric Lang and Cool Me Near Not. That Kickstarter went live today.
Went platinum.
20 minutes they were funded. I think the funding goal was $300,000.
And they're over $1 million now.
They're over $1 million now, so that thing is blowing up. Actually, I'll take a look right now and tell you what we are at the time of this recording. $1.1 million, and they've already unlocked some stretch goals and all the rest of it. I backed this, and
I haven't backed it yet.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on it. Let me get back over here to this. Yeah,
I'll check how many other people at our game group are backing it before, just in case. I want there to be 7 copies.
Sure.
Everybody shows up like, let's play Rising Sun. It's like, well,
everyone can play their own game of it. I hope there's a solo mode.
I don't think there is.
No, there isn't. In fact, it's 3 to 5 players. There's not even a 2-player mode. But that makes sense, because it'd be hard to probably have a negotiation game with 2 players.
Yeah, it'd be like, I would like peace. I would also like peace. Let's not play then.
Let's play something else.
That'd be so great. I'm actually imagining sitting down to like Axis and Allies and just agreeing upon peace. It's like, I think we should agree that at this point, no more damage needs to be done in this world, you know?
Let's take our plastic pieces, go our own way. You take that, I'll take this. Yeah, well, okay, so no 2-player.
New borders.
One thing that did happen today as well was they announced the winners of the Golden Geek.
Oh, yes.
Golden Geek Award. So BGG, the very popular board gaming website, has a yearly award system where people nominate, and then the visitors to the site get to nominate things, and then from those nominations are trimmed down, and then everyone gets to vote on what things they want to win. So we can just quickly go through some of these winners here in case some of you haven't heard already, and we can just kind of talk about it a little bit. We don't review on this channel, so we'll just talk around our thoughts about it. We'll see how. We'll do some verbal gymnastics.
We'll do what we can. Yeah.
Okay. So the big winner, the board game of the year, was Scythe, or Scythe, or however you want to pronounce it.
Well, if that won board game of the year, it must be a great game.
That's good. That's good. It must be. I mean, I'm not saying what I think about it, but it must. Lots of people think it's a fantastic, wonderful, great game.
I've played it 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, me too. All in an effort to see whether or not I should vote for this thing.
Oh yeah.
I did vote, by the way, on the awards.
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay.
We're going to call each other out on it.
Yeah. I won't say whether my selection won or not.
What was runner-up?
Runner-up was Terraforming Mars, and the runner-up to that was Star Wars Rebellion. I'm actually not surprised with any of those selections, really. I think those were all popular games.
I agree.
The 2-player games, the winner was Star Wars Rebellion. I haven't played that, but you have.
I have.
Yeah, you played one game of that, right?
I played one game. I didn't really get an opinion of it for one game. I'd like to switch sides, try again.
I'd like to play it eventually. For a while there, I was just not playing it at all because Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names was relentlessly bothering me about it. And
yeah, that's true.
I've come around now. It's like when they say when you hear this commercial like 10 times, it's annoying, but by the 20th, 30th, you can't help but start singing along to it, and it suddenly gets stuck in your brain. That's Star Wars Rebellion for me. The runners-up were the Arkham Horror, the card game, and Hero Realms.
Hero Realms. That's a game
that we featured on our channel. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Artwork and presentation, another winner.
Gameplay
Scythe again.
Soon? Question mark.
Of what? Scythe?
Hero Realms.
We did a gameplay for Hero Realms. Did you forget that? You forgot.
No, I never.
I won that. That's why you forgot it.
I must have.
Very forgettable for you.
Yeah.
Okay, artwork and presentation. We've got Scythe again. Runners up. I was not displeased to hear that Mechs vs. Minions was a runner up.
We have a video for all of these games that were mentioned.
Except for Inish, and Arkham Horror the card game, and Star Wars Rebellion, and Terraforming Mars. But anyway, you're right. Otherwise, we did have videos for all of them. Okay, so then, card game of the year. You're my winner, Pat.
Thanks.
Okay. Co-host of the year, Pat McDonald. Winner for card game, Arkham Horror the card game.
Well, it had to. It had the card game in the title.
Right in the title. It was that. I think that was they manipulated the winning that way.
I think so.
Runner-up, Sushi Go Party. I haven't played that, but I've heard good things. And runner-up, Clank, for which we do have a video.
We do, and this I want to talk about.
Oh, please.
I think we should talk about this.
Okay.
They called it a card game.
They did call it a card game.
And not a deck builder. I mean, deck builders are cards, so maybe
I was actually thought you were going to call it out more because there's a
like a dungeon exploration.
There's a board component to it.
It's a board. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in that game that I think would separate it from card games. So I'm not saying that they were wrong. I just mean I think that's interesting that it could win that category.
I guess because it's a deck builder, and deck builders is a card-based thing. Even though it's got so much of the board game going on there, and tokens and all that other stuff.
Yeah, lots of other stuff.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But it's good to see that it can win in that genre because I'm not sure that it's enough of not a card game to win any other genre. Right. So that might be the spot it would need to be.
It probably could qualify as a board game too. Interesting. Let us know in the comments what you think here as we chat through this.
I think I'm just rambling now.
No, this is an interesting point. Cooperative game, winner, Mechs vs. Minions. So congratulations to Riot Games there, their first board game. And runners up were Manchester Madness 2nd Edition. I know Jamie from Secret Cabal will be happy.
Infinite amounts about that.
Yes. I played, I think 6 scenarios in the last 30 days of that.
Yeah.
Runner up, Arkham Horror the card game. Again.
Arkham Horror the card game's on a lot of these runner ups.
It is.
And wins.
Expansion, Seven Wonders Dual Pantheon. I haven't played that. I do own it. I heard wonderful things about it, so I picked it up.
I don't own it, but I have played it. We should just merge our bodies together and we'd be complete.
You complete me.
You finished my sentence.
I did. Runner-up, Time Stories, A Prophecy of Dragons. I have it, but haven't played it. In fact, I'm playing Time Stories right now with Christy and Luke. So there you go.
That's another interesting one to talk about.
What's that?
Is that really an expansion? Because technically, the individual time stories are like their own separate, full-on campaigans, right? So
they are.
Does it really classify as an expansion?
I think it.
I'm just trying to make comments.
Yeah, no. I think it certainly does. Yeah, it's sort of like the Mansions of Madness expansions, which are new scenarios for the base game. You know what I mean? I think it probably falls in that same category.
That's fair.
Runner-up, Dead of Winter, The Long Night. Again, very much a standalone. Like that's entirely you just buy that, you just play. You don't need the original at all. So that one's actually kind of an interesting one. Because whereas Time Stories, you can't play it on its own. It really
can't.
Like that, yeah, you need the base game to play.
Oh, I apologize. I misunderstood.
The expansions kind of plug in to the board and the system, but you need that board and system to play that.
Oh, so it's electronic.
It is.
I didn't realize that. I hadn't got to do that one yet.
Family game winner, Codenames Pictures.
Oh. Yeah.
Runner-up Imhotep and runner-up Quadropolis. I actually find Imhotep interesting as a family game because that game can be really, really mean. So it's like if you like to be mean to your family.
I find Quadropolis interesting as a family game, just because I don't see like a huge family element to it, but it's definitely family friendly.
Yeah, I guess with that weight or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I would just bring that in and play it as if it was a game. I wouldn't. Think
and same with Imhotep. I think you could play that as a game.
I guess Codename Pictures is the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Innovative winner, Captain Sonar. Runner-up. Scythe, runner-up, Vast, the Crystal Caverns.
Vast, yes.
Have you played Captain Sonar?
I haven't, but I've heard nothing but great things.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one. I haven't played it either. It's crazy. All the games we play, and still there's so many games that you just don't get to.
Yeah, our Fusion wouldn't have even played it.
So. No, our fused versions of us haven't even played it. Vast, the Crystal Caverns, I have not played.
I have barely. I started playing it, but we didn't end up getting to really get into it. We got interrupted, but it looked extremely interesting.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by that one. I really would like to give that a try at some point. Yeah. Party games, Codenames Pictures again as the winner, runner-up Captain Sonar, runner-up Secret Hitler.
Of course, on all those, yeah.
Print and play, I don't print and play games. Star Trek, the dice game was the winner, Mini Rogue, and 30 Nails were the runner-ups. Solo game, Scythe.
Interesting.
I haven't played it solo, but a lot of Jamie Stegmaier's games, he has some kind of solo option, Automana or something they call it.
Yeah, something.
So Viticulture has that, Euphoria has it. I think all of them have it. I don't think Between Two Cities has it. That'd be a tough one to solo, I think. I could be wrong.
Wait, it does. No, it does.
Does it really?
If it doesn't have a solo version, it has a two-player version, which makes no sense in Between Two Cities anyway. But there is a separate deck of cards that we didn't normally use because it's either for the solo, and it wasn't
in the comments, people are going to tell us for sure on that one, but I don't remember for sure. Strategy game? Scythe.
Scythe, lots of Scythes.
Again, runner-up.
And again, Terraforming Mars.
And then Great Western Trail. One of us doesn't even need to be here. Thematic game, winner. Scythe again. Or Scythe.
No, just Scythe.
Scythe or Scythe. Runner-up, Star Wars Rebellion. Runner-up, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition.
I'm seeing a lot of repeats this year.
We're getting to the bottom of this year, so there's only 3 left, if you're bored.
So we might as well finish.
Okay, War Game, winner, Falling Sky, the Gaelic Revolt against Caesar. I really want to play this game. It's a coin game, counterinsurgency game. There's several of these, and I think this is the one that the theme really interests me a lot.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be a little easier than some of the other ones that are in this line, so I am curious about it.
The neck hurts. I feel like I'm looking at you a lot tonight.
Speaking of which, runner-up, Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection. Another coin game, also one I'm curious about. And then runner-up, the one that you're going to
read. Comancheria, the Rise and Fall of the Comanche Empire.
Exactly. A GMT game, I believe, as well. So, well done, GMT. Congratulations all around. Unless I'm wrong about the last one being a GMT game, in which case I apologize to whoever it is. Best board game app, winner, Twilight Struggle. Try to light a struggle. Twilight Struggle, the app is fantastic.
I have not tried it.
I downloaded it, and I think it's excellent. It's a really good implementation of that game.
Can you play it solo?
You can,
Ooh.
And I was getting my butt kicked.
By the computer?
Yeah. Runner-up, Patchwork, and runner-up, Mansions of Madness.
I do have the Patchwork app.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
You should play that.
I have no problem saying these apps are great implementations of, like, as an app. The UI is great. They're easy to use.
So this isn't just like an app. It's also if it's the companion app because Mansions of Madness is there and it's
a companion app,
so
definitely. Good to know. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Best Podcast. So this is the only award that really is related to media. Yeah.
Yes.
Only. What were you think I was going to say?
I thought the only reward that matters.
So this award, the winner of this was Shut Up and Sit Down, the podcast. Excellent podcast. Congratulations to those guys and girls. Great job there. And runner-up, Rado Talks Through, which is Rado's Runs Through's podcast version of his show. And then, of course, finally we have Ludology with Mike Fitzgerald and Jeff Engelstein. So congratulations to all the winners there. And, of course, they have the RPG awards as well within this and the video game category, but I didn't print those out. Sorry.
We don't play RPGs or video games here at Watch It Play.
Except we do.
Only board games.
You do the RPGs. Well, you play a lot of video games, too, for that matter.
That's a good question.
What's a good question?
Well, I think I probably more RPG and you probably more video games.
Maybe.
And we combine for board games.
Again, fuse.
If we fuse,
We'd be perfect. Okay, so listen, we did a lot of talking there. I think we should jump over, look at some questions, and then we can maybe talk a little bit about this game that we have in front of us too.
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna have to expand this chat window.
I forgot to change my shirt too because this one might have been too dark. So it's too late now.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too dark and it's too late. Okay.
It's too late to apologize.
I'm gonna scroll up for those questions.
I definitely can't see that far away. So.
No, I'll have to do the questions. Sorry. Another thing with this setup is the laptop is a lot farther over this way, so now I have to turn farther from you. Again, something we'll need to correct for future live shows.
You know what? I'm just gonna leave the screen.
Oh, you go ahead. Yeah, maybe you can get the chat going on the other device. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
on a laptop. Perfect.
We'll make it happen.
Live show. We're doing it here while you watch. Okay.
Maybe it'll work that way.
I hope no one thinks like you do. Okay, so here we go. Down the list. Down the list. There are some questions. I saw them. So Clay wants to know, question, when is Pep actually going to start doing videos? Do you mean like his own how to plays and stuff? He has done some before in the past. We are just finalizing your employment papers. You have a meeting tomorrow, right?
I do.
Yeah. So that's all this stuff kind of takes time. We incorporated the business. Someone asked me the other day, why did you incorporate? Because I announced that I incorporated Watch It Played. To be clear, becoming incorporated doesn't mean like I'm suddenly on the stock market or something like that. It's just a classification legally so that I'm not liable. In other words, if someone decided to sue me because they didn't like my video, then they can't take my home and my car and my retirement fund and all that sort of stuff. It isolates the business from Rodney Smith. Basically, I'm an employee of Watch It Played, if you want to think of it that way. So the incorporation had to happen. There's a bunch of paperwork and legal stuff and accountants and all lawyers and all that business. And now the hiring process is something I'm figuring out as well, because I've never actually run my own business and had to hire people and do all that sort of thing. So I'm figuring that out as I go along. So yeah, you're going to try to pull up the comments there as well. So when's Pep going to actually start doing like full gameplays? Pep's already been doing since he's come on to the channel, even though he's not like hired officially yet. That will be happening, and we'll get him doing some more instructional videos as well as his own Pep Talk series. There was one video released as Pep Talk, which you might have seen, where you talked about deck building games, right? They're like little short 5 to 10 minute videos talking about strategies and that sort of thing. And he's already scripted a couple more of these, but we're just waiting to get things kind of.
Next one's probably going to be worker placement.
Yeah, that's right. You did do one for that. I've sort of been keeping Pep as much off of the channel as possible because I don't like asking him to do a bunch of things when I'm not really set up to pay him yet. It feels like I'm taking advantage. So
that's very fair.
I'm trying to get those things in order. But he's always volunteering to do stuff, which is great. Video release. That's the that will pop up the chat if you tap there. Yeah.
I was just turning the volume off.
Okay. All right. So next question.
Perfect.
Amanda Panda Wong wants to know, is there a Watch It Played official uniform? No, sort of. I mean, our polos are kind of the official uniform.
Yes.
Or costume.
I think so. Anytime I think I want to look like I work for Watch It Play today, I put that polo on.
Yeah, it's the polo. Yeah. I don't really wear that stuff around anywhere except on the show. Even when I go to conventions, at Gamma I might. But when I go to Gen Con and things like that, I don't typically wear the Watch It Played colors.
No.
I can figure my face maybe is kind of an indicator too that I'm that guy from Watch It Played.
Yeah, that's I tend to wear my Watch It Play color. I wear a lot of red anyway, and I think you wear a lot of blue.
Yes, that's true.
It just kind of works out.
I have noticed people are getting the Watch It Play t-shirts. I've been getting tweets about that. So if you picked up one of those, hopefully you're getting it soon, which is great. And thanks for getting them. Let's see. I'm going to zip down here. We've got a question with nothing after it. Okay, keep going.
Just the word question?
Okay, so David Fears wants to know, question, will you, and he put this in all caps, he really wants this question answered. Will you be selling dice trays that you gave away in last season's rewards? Thanks for asking that question, David. Yes, I hope so. I've been talking to Ben about that, and the construction of those dice trays last year was not without some complications. There's, as the assembly required, it had some challenges, but Ben worked it out. This year he's trying to figure out a way to create the same dice tray, but make it easier to manufacture them so we can get them out a little more easier, basically. So keep an eye out in the future. Hopefully we'll have more of those. And I also, there'll be an opportunity for us again to revisit the design and see if we can make any little improvements along the way. I'll answer this question just once during this live chat, because we always do get a question about, like, what's your favorite game? What would you pick out of these 10 games to play and that sort of thing. Because on Watch It Play, we don't review. We also don't recommend. We don't really offer opinions directly about what game we like more than another game and all the rest of it. It's just not a space I like to really operate in. So unfortunately, if your question has to do with that, I'm not going to address it. I'll just skip past it.
That's fair.
But I still appreciate you. Thank you for being here and wanting to ask a question. And hey, maybe someone in the chat will answer your question. They might have an opinion about it, right?
I don't know where we are in the questions.
Scott Flynn asks, ever fallen out with someone over a board game?
Oh.
Not ultimately. I remember when I played a game of Diplomacy, and I have told this story before, so I won't go into great detail, but I was playing a game of Diplomacy online with a bunch of other podcaster folks, and Jamie from the Secret Cabal was also playing, and we were in an alliance, him and I, a secret alliance type of thing, with another person, Jeff Engelstein, I believe it was. And at one point, Jamie and I, we're really good friends, so it was which amplified what happened. At a certain point, we came to a disagreement over how to handle a situation, and very strongly disagreed with one another over what should happen. And it did cause some tension in our friendship for a couple of days, because our emotions ran a little high over it, and it was a weird experience because we were playing a game. It didn't really matter, and yet it did matter.
Especially a game that takes place over the series of months.
Oh, that's the thing too. It was such an investment of time that suddenly every decision's like, we have to live with this for months.
Yeah.
So if it was like, oh, this will only last for a couple of hours and then it's over, it would have been a different scenario. But it was really good in a way, because after it happened, we had a really good heart-to-heart about it. You know, Jamie expressed to me, hey, like, when this happened, this really hurt me or bothered me or whatever. And, you know, we had to reconcile that. And every friendship is easy to maintain when things are going good, right? Oh. So it's nice when you have a relationship with someone that you care about and you have a bad thing happen and then you figure out how to deal with it. I think it makes the relationship stronger and the friendship stronger and all the rest of it, right? So I think, yeah, it was ultimately a good thing. It didn't end the relationship, but it was definitely, it was tense. It was tense for sure. What about you? Have you ever had a game go really, really sour that made you sort of spoil you on someone? You don't have to name names, of course, or even name the game if you thought the person might be listening.
No, I mean, those moments definitely happen, especially in anything. Well, you know me, when I make alliances in games, I don't break them.
Right. You never break them. Yeah.
So you get that extra special little thing where someone will break the alliance and you're just like, well, I expected you might anyway, but, you know, I thought...
Did I break the alliance with you? How many times?
You break every alliance. I
don't break every alliance.
I think it might have been.
Probably was me.
I remember at one point you told me that you specifically wait for the moment you think it would be best for you to break the alliance. And it just ends up happening earlier than you think it would be. And I know that sounds very sensible.
Right. Break the alliance.
I'm going to break it whenever it's most beneficial for me.
Yeah.
But it just hurts my heart a little. You know? But no, in the long run, it's games. It's fun.
Yeah,
Most games feature deception of some sort. So no, I do have the one moment that I remember most hurt me.
Did this involve me?
No. So I used to play Werewolf a lot at Gen Con. I would stay up all night every night.
He used to. He still does.
Well, sometimes. But I used to play it a lot at Gen Con, and we'd have these big 20, 30 player games in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I made a friend in the group. I mean, they were all friendly, but I made this one friend in the group, and I very much trusted him. And so at one point, I was the seer.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm going to use this person. We're going to have a bit of a bouncing board. And so I whispered to him, like, I'm the seer, let's bounce around some ideas, what you think I should do, etc. And we were good buddies. He just said he was a villager. He wasn't anyone important.
Sure.
We go this whole game of, him pointing at, who I should be picking out.
Right.
Found out in the end, he was actually one of the werewolves.
Of course,
and they were using me the entire game.
Oh, wow.
They let me live specifically because they knew that they were pointing
so at night, he probably went to the other werewolves or something, right?
Yeah.
But he's like... Fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
terrible.
And in a big game like that, that's like a 2-hour game of me thinking I'm doing a great job and surviving, not finding anyone, but it was traumatic.
Well, interesting question, Scott. Yeah, and hopefully some interesting answers there. Second Stone wanted to know why no Star Wars Rebellion video. Oh gosh, you can ask that question about so many games. Just limited time. I don't even have the game. I've never played it yet, so I'm not. I generally don't feature a game until I've played it at least once. So I haven't had a chance to try that one yet. So many games coming out all the time.
Clay Pintialo wants to know, do you know anything about the new Kemet expansion coming out this year?
I just know there's a new expansion coming out. I don't really know a lot of details about it. Maybe I'll hear something at Gamma when I'm there. One thing you can expect while I'm at Gamma is I'll be taking pictures and tweeting them out and that sort of thing. And I plan to take one of my better cameras with me to take some decent-looking pictures. So it won't just be like a camera phone. So yeah, follow me at Watch It Played and follow Pep at Board Pep again on Twitter. You can see some of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely both be tweeting.
I'll just say this. I'm quite content with the base game of Kemet. I like the expansions that have come out for it, but it's not a game where I'm personally sitting there going like, I want to cram more stuff into this game. I
feel that way about a lot of games.
Yeah, it's not that I wouldn't play more stuff. If something's really cool and interesting, sure, why not? But
my laptop on camera, by the way? The
probably.
That blocks it a little bit.
No, it's a little bit, but it's fine.
It's fine.
You guys don't mind? Thank you.
Perfect.
Oh boy, I just really.
No, you popped it out.
Yeah.
Xanatos Volkova wants to know what our favorite McDonald's food is.
I have to go to the Big Mac. I don't eat any more. It's just too many calories. But that is my favorite burger. If you said we're gonna put you on an island, you can only eat one McDonald's item for the rest of your life, and you're going for maximum enjoyment, I would say Big Mac.
I'm not really a big fan of McDonald's, just the type of food
we don't review, Pep.
Oh, shit. So, but that being said, I do like the sausage McMuffin or the egg McMuffin.
Oh, okay.
Because essentially
the
breakfast meals are essentially exactly what I would cook at home.
Right.
I mean, it's not.
I like the bagel, the BLT bagel's good too. Yeah, enjoy the
breakfast.
Amanda Panda Wong wants to know, will Bebo ever show up as a special guest on the show? Well, in a way, she sort of has.
Yeah, she has. She's been in videos before.
Yeah, like the Come and Play Day videos that I've shot. I did one for Machi Koro, and there was another game that was kind of like a love letter type style game. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's set in space. It slipped my mind. But anyway, that's on the channel. But she just lives in Seattle, so it makes it hard for her to appear. But if she ever ends up over this way on the East Coast, I'd love to have her on for sure.
Yeah, no, actually, that's where I first saw her was
on one of the videos.
On one of the videos you two did together, a product preview for.
We did Grizzle too.
Yeah, you did the Grizzle, but the product preview for that one about it's love letter like spaceship.
That's what I was just talking about. I just said all those exact words.
I must have just zoned
I just said those exact words.
You couldn't think of the name either?
Let's just shut down.
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. Let's just shut down this live. The last live show ever.
Last live show.
You're probably all very disappointed with us. I apologize. Okay, if you got a question, because I'll fire one off.
Michael Pennefield wants to know, do you have any future collaborations with other board game personalities? That you're allowed to announce ahead of time.
Well, there's nothing I'm not allowed to announce. I just don't. I would say right now I don't have anything like planned specifically. There is a possibility that a couple people I know in the industry might be actually traveling to the island come the summer. So I won't say anything in case their travel plans are not meant to be public at this time. And who knows, their schedules might change. But there's a possibility that a few industry folk might end up down our way. Eric Lang actually was nearby last summer.
Oh, that's true.
He was on the island, and there was a possibility of us getting together. I have to say, I'm going to confess something here.
Oh.
I have been, and maybe this is foolish, but I've been a little self-conscious about the space that I shoot in and having guests.
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like the illusion would be shattered for them. Because I think on the show, we do a pretty nice job of like, hey, nice table, nice backdrop, or, plain enough, simple enough backdrop or whatever. But if you turn at all away from that scene that I very carefully set up for the camera, it's just not a very pleasant space to be in. It's cold. It's not well lit.
No, I do have to add that you have a beautiful house. And your living space is fantastic. Right. Just your basement is unfinished.
My basement's unfinished.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that in case people are like,
I live in like a cardboard box with a basement.
Yeah.
It's just the basement's just not very nice, and so I'm always a little self-conscious. If someone's like, "Hey, I'd love to come over and visit," like, you don't have to. It's not like don't rush over. I think once we have the studio set up, I'll feel much better. That they can kind of come down the stairs and it'll feel like an extension of my home rather than like, when did I fall into like a game of D&D suddenly, or a Mansions of Madness scenario.
Of course, Studio B, it feels much more at home simply because it's just a wall of my living room. So if we turn the camera around, you're just looking. It's messy, but it's fine. Yeah.
I have a question here from Landon McDonald. Landon wants to know, what made you start making YouTube videos? Well, Landon, thanks for the question. I guess I started initially just because I enjoyed watching other people who created YouTube videos, especially around board games, and I wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to do something different than what was being done already, and one day it just dawned on me like, oh, no one does gameplays for board games. They do them for video games. Lots of people did that already.
Yeah.
And this is, again, as I've said famously before, this was before tabletop, so everyone thinks of tabletop, right? But this was before that even existed, so like nobody was doing it really. And I thought, well, this is a way. This is a way I can do something that I would be excited and energized by, and hopefully other people would be like, oh, this is something different. I'll check it out. So
it'd be a contribution to the community.
Right. And not to say that when people, do reviews or do other gameplays or even do instructional videos like we're already doing, not that they're not contributing in their own way, but I know that myself, I was coming at it wanting to do something, as you say, something different, right? So, that was really what it was. And thankfully, boy, people have been really, really kind and supportive over the years. And so we've kept doing it. And we hope to continue doing it for a long time.
This one should be quick.
Sure.
Second Stone wants to know if we've played Unfair.
Have not. Have a copy of it, but have not played.
I didn't know you had the copy, but oh no, I did. I remember seeing it. But I have not either.
Your mind's all over the place here. I remember we talked about it specifically.
Yeah, it's Unfair.
Yeah, it came at the same time Ethnos came, and we have a video for Ethnos, but I haven't had a chance to try Unfair yet. Wes Gall wants to know if I'll be at Origins. I will be at Origins. Pep, will you be at Origins?
I will not be at Origins.
Okay, well, Pep will not be there, but I will be there. So maybe I'll see you there, Wes, if you're going.
Xanatos Volkova wants to know, the interviews are great. Do you see Watch It Played Studio becoming prominent enough that publishers come to you to demonstrate games as publicity?
It's hard for me to measure, how.
So those are really deep questions.
It's tough, right? Like how prominent are we? I don't know. I did have a publisher at one point want to come actually to. They were going to fly down to the Watch It Play Studios to actually teach us a game so that we could feature it on the channel, because I was just saying, like, I don't think I can do this game. The rulebook's not great, and I can't really, I can't figure this game out. So they offered to fly down, and I just felt like that was not, I felt like that wasn't going to be good because, yeah, you could teach it to me, but unless you're willing to fly to everyone who buys a copy of this game, I have a really weird unfair advantage. Like, it's funny, right? Because we do create the videos so people don't have to rely on the rulebook.
That's true.
But I want the rulebook to be really good, because when you're sitting at the table, you're not going to remember everything that we said in a video. Oh, so you might need to quickly look something up.
Yeah.
And if the rulebook is a disaster, you won't be able to do that. So at that point, I feel like the game has failed on a certain level that I don't necessarily want to promote it as much.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you're fantastic, I'm wonderful, but no matter how many times you watch that video, I remember we went to play, not Scythe.
You're fantastic, I'm wonderful.
Well, I had to use a different name, or a different word. But I remember there was Seafall. Seafall.
Yeah.
I remember I specifically watched Seafall twice.
Yeah.
Right before I came to play it. And still something came up and it was like, oh, I'm not quite sure about this. And you're like, yeah, I'm not sure either. Let's go check.
Right. So if the rulebook isn't there to support, then it doesn't matter how good my video is. You still need that to complement it. My hope is that with the videos, it's a complement to the rulebook, so that you can watch this and go, I wasn't getting it in the rulebook. I see it, now I get it. Yeah, hopefully in some cases you can just watch the video and you're fine. But we expect there to be some kind of back and forth between the videos and the rulebook. Pete Shirey wants to know, is Rising Sun going to be the biggest CMON Kickstarter in total numbers? Pete, who actually works with CMON. Hi, Pete. Good friend, Pete. Good friend of the show as well.
Self-serving question.
Self-serving question. I'm sure that CMON's curious, though, about that, too. I bet you they're wondering, like, how will this perform? I think on the strength of Blood Rage, which was a real hit for them, knowing this is coming from the same designer and CMON is kind of pushing it and promoting it as a spiritual successor to Blood Rage, I think it has the potential for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Will it be, if I had to put like money on it, do I think it will be? I don't remember how much money Blood Rage made. I'd have to look that up to really know for sure. But I think it will. I'll say it will.
The gaming hobbyist wants to know, how many games do you have in your collection as of now?
I recently updated my inventory, and I believe on BGG you can enter your collection, right? So I recently went through and updated it. I think I have, it's just a little over 300, like less than 400, a little over 300. But a lot of those are expansions too. So, the collection's probably about 300 games, and then there's a bunch of expansions packed in there too.
Yeah, I have something, I counted mine recently, something around 140, but honestly that includes games that probably won't hit the table.
Like bingo, you mean?
Yeah, like it includes Monopoly and Scrabble, and things that don't hit the table all that often, and like you said, expansions. So
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll just scroll down. So David asked, any plans on creating a set at Pep's house so we can film when you can't?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have talked about it. I mean, the ideal situation would be that we create a space here, an official Studio B, where we don't have weird light stuff going on, which we have
full-on studio.
Yeah, like something that everything worked. Like if we had those walls in my basement and brought them in here, we could create that exact studio here.
Literally.
Unfortunately, those walls are too big to get up here and through that door. But ultimately, maybe one of the big things I think will happen is this will be an editing suite here at Pep's place.
Yeah, that'll be pretty sweet.
A really big benefit to Watch It Played and to me and my mental health will be when I can spend 10 hours shooting and then not have to spend immediately after that another 6 hours editing, and I can just come over to Pep's and go, pass the baton.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. And I can go home and I can see my family and do other things, right? That'll be a nice balance, you know what I mean? If Pep takes on more of the editing stuff, and I can continue to do some of the shooting, but also Pep doing his own shooting as well. And sometimes we've done that actually in tandem. I've been shooting, and I'll bring up some footage to you, and then I'll go back down and continue the video, and you'll be editing sort of as I go.
Oh yeah,
we haven't done that a lot, but it's something we've done before.
Xanatos Volkova, I'm just gonna I'm gonna shorten that if we're gonna say it so often.
Okay.
Wants to know.
Thanks for all the questions, though.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Best campaign experience, D&D, role-playing game, board game, or otherwise.
Oh, you answer. I've been talking a lot.
Oh no.
I do have an answer, but I'll let you go.
One of the campaigns I ran most recently, or a few years ago, was based around everybody had an enchanted intelligent weapon. We're playing D&D 3.5. Everyone had an enchanted intelligent weapon, and they were basically trying to save the universe,
Really?
Yeah, that's which is, I know, it's... Well, the thing was...
It is honestly, though, probably the most noble thing you could do.
It is. So. But what ended up happening was I said to them, normally I try to run a fairly serious game, and I said, you know what, let's try to be a little more silly and not be quite as serious. It ended up being very serious as the game went on anyway. But yeah, so the whole plot was that there were forces that were tearing the fabric of reality apart, and they had to travel through time to seal up the rifts that were causing it, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, and...
so this allowed you to probably have a lot of different settings, then, if you're jumping through time?
I did, yes. They had a bunch of different settings, and this is where my favorite experience was.
Okay.
So normally they were going through things one at a time. They went through 2 different of the scenarios one at a time.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, what we need to do now is we need to scout ahead. So we're going to send everybody into their respective portals, or in groups of 2, actually, they did, to scout out the areas a little bit, figure out what's going on, and then come back.
Okay.
Now, one of the areas was essentially a dead zone for the powers of their swords. And in order to escape that space, they had to defeat, they had to actually literally close the rift in that space.
So while they were there, you're saying the enchanted swords they had were just...
They didn't work, and so they couldn't even use them to get back in time, or back to where their main place was. But the worst part is that of the people that got sent, one of those characters was literally blind and saw using the power of their sword.
Okay.
So
now they are blinded.
Yeah. So the 2 of them pop into this location. One of them's literally blind. The other one suddenly lost half of their powers, and they have no way to contact the rest of the party.
Great scouts.
Yeah. And we were running those individual sessions separately, too.
Okay.
So basically, I sit them down, and I'm like, okay. This is what's happening. Right. And so the rest of them just had to slowly figure out that something bad was happening. It's like, oh, they haven't contacted us, they haven't done anything.
Right, because they just disappeared off the map. They were expecting them to bounce back or something.
Yeah, and they never did. So eventually, after a few sessions, they're like, okay, we're going to have to go in there and try to help them and figure out what was going on. But it was, and so they had to survive and figure out what was going on and scout without knowing anything. Oh, the best part, anyone who's familiar with Eberron, they arrived in Sharn, the city of towers, which is essentially this huge area of towers and bridges, like just falling into a plummeting doom. So again, that's where the blind guy ended up. Oh, no. He ended up in this place where there's just tons of bridges that you can fall to your doom.
He wasn't going to die from a monster, an attack, or poison.
He was just going to walk. Yeah, he almost did. That's how it started. He's like, I'm going to walk a little bit to see where I am, and I'm just like, oh no. Balance?
Oh, you're going to find out real soon where you are.
Roll a balance check. What about you?
Mine's short because I don't get the opportunity to play as many role-playing games as I would enjoy. No, that was great. I'll call it my first official, real kind of role-playing game experience was playing Mouse Guard, and I played it with, bringing up these guys again, Jamie Kagi from the Secret Ball and Chris Miller from the Secret Ball and Chris Miller's wife, and then my buddy Dan ran a session for us. And it was my first time. We did it over Skype, and I had a marvelous time. I had such a good time. It was really fun. It made me go, oh, this is role-playing so great. Because we're acting as mice, and we're in the mouse guard and stuff. And I was worried how Skype would work. But the Mouse Guard is really a theater of the mind kind of game that you don't typically have like a grid and board and all this. It's more about describing what you're doing. And the way skill systems work are really interesting, how you assist one another. So, yeah, it was a great experience. In fact, it was such a good experience. I actually contracted somebody to create an art print of that game that we played together, featuring us as our characters in like this sort of action set piece. Yeah. Fighting a ferret and flying on a bird, one of us, and it was a really cool experience. So that'd be my most memorable role playing session.
Yeah, sometimes playing over Skype's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's difficult in some ways, but
hey, if it's the only option you've got, then it can fill in the gaps pretty nicely. So Matthew Swift just had a recommendation for games we should play. Thank you, Matthew, for the recommendation there. MP asks questions. What percentage of sales did you get from the Luke the Lucky add-on from Mass More? Kind of curious. I probably wouldn't have got it otherwise. I don't know. I won't go into like the specific nitty-gritty details, but I mean, one thing to keep in mind, although I think the add-on was $10, the vast majority of that gets taken up with all the other costs. Oh, so yeah. I get a slice of that. It wasn't insignificant, but if you're going like, okay, $10 and let's say there's 300 of them sold or whatever, the math doesn't quite work out that way. It's a lot less than the $10. But it was a very nice thing for Cool Mini or Not to do with us and to do with Watch It Played. And certainly that helped this year with some of the expenses we're going to have, like the renovations that we're doing. So I would certainly be happy to do that again. I really appreciate not just that Cool Mini or Not did it, but that people like you picked up the figure, because again, that did help the show.
Tony Simpkins wants to know, is there any surprise about this year's awards? We kind of talked about that while we were reading them, but
yeah, nothing in there surprised me, I wouldn't say. Like, would I necessarily order them these ways? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the main thing is none of these games are like, where'd that come from?
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
How did that get an award? Like,
even the things we mentioned where it's like, is this the category of being? Like, that's more just nitpicking for the fun of it.
Out of interest. Like if Terraforming Mars had won over Scythe for Board Game of the Year, that wouldn't have surprised me, because I've heard a lot of people have said very good things about Terraforming Mars. It's been a very popular game. But it doesn't surprise me that Scythe is. I remember I heard someone make a comment on Twitter about, like, oh, it's these aren't fair. The awards are skewed against, certain types of games or whatever. It's like, no, it's a popularity contest. It's the games that win are the games that a lot of people play and a lot of people enjoy. So if an individual's pick is a game that's a little more outside the popularity scope, then yeah, it's probably not going to win the award, because this is going to be based on what most people are playing. You know what I mean? If you've never played this really obscure game, then it's unlikely you're going to vote for that game, right? But if you've got a game like Scythe, which had big sales, there's going to be more people who played it, so therefore more people who are going to vote for it, especially if they enjoyed it. So
we got a couple of votes for the fireplace coming back.
Okay.
That was surprising.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Because Charles Fox wants to know if we can get the fireplace back.
Okay. Well,
and
Charles,
Andrew,
maybe.
well, it's a possibility.
You never know.
Andrew King wants to know if you're drinking wine again.
No, this is just water.
It's just water. I could have answered that, I guess. I poured it for you.
It's funny. Mouse of Glenn said, "Is Pep going to strip?" I think this is the time you left the table.
Yes.
What they don't realize is...
Funny enough, I did.
Yeah, there was at the corner of my eye. I saw some clothes being rearranged.
Yeah. Oh. Gear1989 wants to know if we've ever played Talisman and if we enjoyed it. And as I read it, I realized we're not going to answer that. But It is on this shelf. I have played it.
Okay. I didn't even hear that question, but as long as you answered it, we're good.
Talisman. Have you ever played Talisman?
I played with you.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Perfect.
Dave asks, does Watch It Played have to obtain permission from the publishers to do YouTube video? If not, do you get copyright strikes sometimes, like video game playthroughs on YouTube? I have never gotten a strike or complaint about the games we feature. We, the first couple of years of the channel, we would pick the games and just do them. I shouldn't even say the first couple of years. Pretty early on,
first year and a half.
Maybe first year and a half,
Yeah.
I started approaching the publishers and saying, I'd like to feature this game. Are you cool with it? Sometimes they'd send me the game, which was kind of nice. Now, I mean, every game that we feature, I work specifically with the publisher so that before I post the video, they go, yeah, you've got it right. Because
sometimes there's multiple checks and balances.
Yeah, because I want the videos to be as accurate as possible. And I really want their blessing is not really the right way to say it, because I want to have full control over how I present the information. Sometimes the publishers will come back to me and say, oh, I wouldn't have, presented it this or that way. And I go, well, too bad. I don't say it that way, but I mean, I feel like I have a formula for how I want to present the games on the channel. I'm not going to have a publisher tell me how I should present it. But in terms of the accuracy of a rule's done wrong or something, or they feel like if I use a term and they're like, well, that's not quite the term we use, then I would go in there and I would correct something like that, because I want it to be an accurate reflection of what the game is intended to be and how it's meant to be played, right?
Yeah, and we don't always use the direct terms from the games either. Sometimes we'll change the term up.
Yeah, a little bit. If I really feel like the publisher made a mistake in terms of how they chose the terms they use, I might change it if I think, no, this is how most people think about it, or here's my sense of how the hobby thinks of it. I'm going to use this term instead of that term.
Oh, yeah. As long as they just refer to something different. Like if they refer to a card as a fjord.
or something weird, right? I'll just use the plain language. The one place I won't do it is if there are card effects that refer to that term, then I'm stuck. I have to use the term that they use so that people aren't confused when they're playing the game.
It's very true. Thomas Martin wants to know your thoughts on cooperative games compared to winner-take-all games.
Compared to winner-take... Oh, it's a non-cooperative.
Yeah, non-cooperative.
What are my thoughts? I mean, everything in its season. I enjoy both. Andrea was visiting recently, and me and Christy and Andrea played a whole bunch of Mansions of Madness together, which is a fully cooperative game. And then I'll sit down and I'll play with Christy competitive Euro or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. My thoughts are that cooperative games are great ways to introduce people to the hobby who don't... A couple things. Either they're not into the hobby yet, so you can kind of help them along without... Like, a strategy game is a little hard to help someone along. Let me see that hand of cards you're holding so I can tell you what to do. But also, if you have someone who just doesn't like competition and doesn't like losing, quote unquote, it softens the blow a little bit if you're losing together, I guess.
Yeah. I find it's much easier to teach a game that's cooperative.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you can actually teach as it goes along, and you don't have that feeling of animosity like, oh, you didn't tell me this rule. It's like, oh, no, I play. It's affecting me too, trust me.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fool anyone here. This does not help me that you don't know what you're doing.
But no, my personal preference is over not cooperative games.
Yeah, you prefer a competitive game.
Yeah, and it's not just because I want the opportunity to win a game. It's more I find people seem to have more fun when they all have that little drive. Everyone has a little drive and they have a reason to invest in the game. I find with cooperative games you tend to get at least one or two players kind of as the game dies down, just have less interest or less invested in it, I guess.
Yeah.
There's always more investment, I find, in a competitive game.
Okay. Let's see. What do we got next here? I think I'm at the talisman question. You might have gone past that. Oh no, I'm at this. There's the cooperative question. How are we doing for time here? We started at 7 our time. No.
We were an hour in.
Wait a second.
We're an hour in.
We're an hour in? Okay. Yeah. That's right. We started 8 our time. That's right. Well, listen, we haven't shown this No Siesta game at all here. Maybe we should take a quick moment, show this quickly.
Yeah, we probably won't play much of it.
No.
We'll give the idea.
But every now and then, if you're joining us for the first time in a live show, we do like to just talk about a game and maybe even play a couple of turns. That's what we're going to do here with this game from Stronghold Games called No Siesta. It takes place in the universe of La Granja, which is the larger board game version of this. I have not yet read the rules to this game. Pep took it from me so he could learn it and teach me. And he gave me a little bit of a run-through of this earlier today, right?
I did.
So I think instead of teaching it, we'll just start playing it, and we'll kind of talk through it as we go. Does that sound
perfect?
Good? All right. And we'll use the 2-player variant rules here. So there is always the possibility there might be a mistake here. I haven't vetted Pep's knowledge of the game.
No, everything's fine.
Okay,
everything's perfect.
Okay, good. So what do we do first?
So the first thing is the person with the pig, who is going to be me, first player.
Yes.
I'm going to roll the dice.
Right.
And then I'm going to pick one of these dice.
And I know on the screen it's going to be a little hard to see what these are, but we'll say out loud as we take them what they do. So you pick one of the dice, okay?
Yeah, so I'm going to take this one. It has 2 symbols on it, so I'm going to get both an olive and a wheat.
Right. All the symbols that you find on these dice are found on these little player boards here in front of us. So as you take a die, you take the thing.
Yeah, and I need to mark it with the little chips I have.
Mark it? Okay.
I need to mark it.
Do these have to be done together, or can you do it a little bit at a time?
You can do it a little bit at a time, yeah.
Okay.
The only one that need to be together at the same time are the 3 of a kind.
I'm going to take, where are we putting the dice? Down here? Okay. I'm going to take the piglet, so I'll fill in the piglet. All right?
Perfect. Now, in a game with 3 or 4 players, you would definitely keep re-rolling these. So I would grab everything that wasn't chosen, I would re-roll them again, and again I would pick first.
Okay.
With the 2-player variant, we just pick from the same dice.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a hat.
What is that? Is that a goat thing? I'll take the goat thing.
I think it's just a full-on goat. Oh, it's a donkey.
It's a donkey? All right, so we got the donkey, and then the one that's left over, Pep, what happens to that?
We both get it.
Okay, so each...
We're both going to take a coin.
And I forgot to mark my donkey. So there's the donkey, and there's the coin.
Perfect.
Okay, Pep, what happens next?
And now we enter the scoring phase, essentially.
All right.
And we get to mark the things that we've gained onto our board in some way. This has a very... In a sheet, yeah, it's not a board. In a very Yahtzee-style feeling. So you have all these different spots you can enter.
Yep.
This is the roof. You can put coins into the roof. You do have to build from right to left, but as we mentioned, you can
left
fill
to right
in...
even.
Yes. It's opposite for me right now.
Right.
So, yeah, you can fill these in one at a time, but you do have to fill in this side first. Once the side is filled, you'll actually be taking one of these roof tiles and revealing it. So this one, for example, is worth a point. Some of them give you extra resources, and some let you move things around.
Here, you know what we can do? Let's just fill in, and then when we complete something, we can sort of say...
We'll just talk about what's happening.
What it did, yeah. So,
that's fair.
Does it matter who does what, or is there an order to it?
So the game does say that when you're playing for the first few times, you should do it in order. So I would complete mine, then you would do yours. But it suggests once you've played a few times, you can really just do it simultaneously.
For the sake of this, let's just do it simultaneously to save time. So I've got a coin, I've got a pig, and I've got a donkey thing here. So... so look down here, Pep. I've got the pig for this. Okay, I'm going to fill this in. And I've got the, whatever this is, the goat donkey thing. So I've filled in this line. So that does something, right?
Yeah, so it's going to give you, at the end of the game, a point for every row you fill in.
Every sort of column that I filled in here fully, right?
Column, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So those 2 are done for me. And then I've got a coin. So I find anywhere that shows a coin, and I can potentially fill that in most of the time. Like here, I'll just say quickly, you need to do them in sets. So I need to get 3 in one turn, which I don't have here.
Yeah, and these down here, you need to do in that exact order, too. So even though
there's
you
an
have a
arrow
coin
here. I couldn't just fill this one in.
You couldn't just fill that one.
But over here, even though I'm not done, can I fill in like just one of these?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'll fill in one like that.
That's what I did as well. And I'm actually going to do exactly what I mentioned. I have the olive and the wheat, so I'm going to start this little track here.
Oh, very nice. So although you have to do them in order, I will point out this little line here means you don't have to do the donkey first. You just have to start here and go over, and the donkey you can do at a later time.
That's right, yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend my hat that I have left over to move up on the hat track down here.
What's the hat track?
So this actually shows where the game will end. Whenever somebody reaches the end of this track, that'll end the game at the end of that round.
Okay.
As well as you get a point for every hat you have on the hat track. And anytime you reach one of these little symbols here, you actually get to take one of your cubes.
I like to think that there's some kind of reward for having the nicest hat collection at the end of the game.
Yeah,
like this represents your fancy hat collection.
I think so.
Cool, I love it. Okay, so now do I become the first player? Is that what happens now?
You do.
And then I roll the dice?
And then you do.
All right, so I'm going to roll these dice. Okay. And let's see. You know what? I would like to have a fancy hat. Thank you very much. So I'm going to take
I'm so sad.
a hat. And you can choose from these lovelies.
Okay, I will...
I see some things I like here.
I will take the wheat and the
I
olive
wanted
again.
that so much. Now, Pep, I have a question for you. What would happen if you ran out of these tokens? So let's say you took that, right, and you placed 2. If there was another one of those out there on your next turn and you placed 2 more, the final die...
I wouldn't even get it.
You can't use it.
And that's what's important is every time you pick something, like let's say I pick this wheat and olive, I do have to mark these immediately, but I have the option of not taking something.
Oh, so you could have chosen, for example, not to take that if you didn't want
it. Yeah, or not to take either.
Okay.
Just to simply stop you from having it.
Okay.
But yeah, that way when things come up later, I still have the option of pulling them in.
Okay, wonderful.
And you will slowly lose these, as we'll talk about.
All right, I'm going to take the pig again. So there we go.
Well, now you took what I wanted.
Oh, all right.
We're both sad.
I'm happy.
Perfect.
Well, I was sad about that first take.
I'm going to take the coin.
Okay, so we each get a grape.
Oh, that's a grape. Oh, good. That's perfect.
You're happy with the grapes? All right.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was a grape.
Okay, question for you. Can I fill these in any order?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm very excited.
All right, I'm going to continue along my track. You gave me the grape, another olive, and another wheat.
So I'm going to use the hat. The hat actually can be marked in certain places as well. Like on this track, you have to do it in order, of course.
It can be.
So
yeah.
I'll just take the hat here.
Perfect.
Okay. And that's my hat. And then I think the piglet, I'm going to fill in this one. And the grapes, I will fill in this one.
All right, now I'm actually completing one of these, so I'm going to put a coin in here. And then, like we mentioned, I'll take a roof tile here.
Yes, randomly.
I'll reveal it. So this one is a wheat. So at any point, I could use that as an extra wheat on my turn.
You don't have to use it now?
No.
Okay.
And then I'd flip it over.
Okay. Very good. Well, here, let's switch over to you. So we'll do a couple more turns like this, and then we'll wrap things up. And anything that we didn't really sort of get to in the rules, we'll just quickly explain. All right. And I should mention, we're marking on these. The game does come with the pencils, and it comes with a whole pad of these sheets. And the pad is propping up the tripod right now.
You don't need to admit that.
We're a professional organization here. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So I will again take the wheat.
And the olives. I wanted the wheat really, really badly. I could have used that. And so instead, I'm going to take the goat person.
I will take the hat.
Yeah, that was going to be my next pick. I will. I've rolled the dice here. I'll take a pig, and I haven't been doing this properly.
And then we both get a pig.
So we can have 2 on the same thing.
We can.
Okay, very cool. All right. Well, I know what I'm filling in here.
Yeah, I'm definitely. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to be spending my hat.
Okay.
And that means.
Because you hit a plus.
I hit a plus, so I'll get another one of these tokens.
One here. Very nice. I filled in this, Pep. Okay, over here. So now this took away the goat. Now, what happens when I fill in this?
So you get to take one of the workers beside you and gain its effect for the rest of the game.
Any one of these?
Any one of them.
Woo, baby. Okay, well, I think I'll take this one, assuming you tell me what it does.
So that one is every time you complete one of those rows that you already did there,
any one of these,
you would gain a coin. And if you complete one of these rows, you get a coin as well.
Okay, sure. I'll keep that one then for fun. So this is now something active I have all the time.
Just slide it on top, actually.
Oh, I cover it up.
You cover it up.
Okay. I like it.
Perfect.
All right. So, I still have 2 more things.
Yeah, I still have things to do.
I have 2 pigs.
We distracted each other.
We did. I got excited there for a moment. All right. I'll fill in. 2 pigs? I'm going to go 2 pigs here.
I'm just going to fill in this area down here.
I'll be first player.
And I also have a pig. Okay, I'll put a pig in here.
And there are more dice in case you have more players, right?
There are. You add 2 for each. And also of note, you'll notice that we're spending everything we have each round. We do actually have to. If you don't spend something, it's just thrown away.
Okay.
With the exception of a crate, which we haven't shown yet. So.
Okay, I will take a hat. Yes, I'll take a hat. So a hat gives me this. What about you, Pat?
I'll take a grape.
Yeah, there's not a lot of choices here. So a grape for you, and I'll take...
Oh, yeah, mark it.
Mark it. I guess I'll take a grape as well. So I guess that leaves you with a goat.
Yeah, and then
another goat for both of us. Okay. So with the hat, I'm actually going to... I'm going to do this so I have another disc as well. And let's see. We've got a goat.
Take a goat and a grape. So I'm also completing those workers. I'm going to take a different one, just show more effect.
Sure.
I'm going to take this one. It's a little picture of a wagon and then no goat. What that means is I don't actually need goats to pull my wagons. My workers do it for me.
Okay. So in other words, actually, I'll fill this in here. So if I had this whole track filled up, right? I got to the very end.
Yeah.
Before I could claim any points here, and the first person to fill it in would get 9 points.
They would, and everyone else would get 7.
Yeah. Before I can do that, I also have to fill in all these spaces, right? It's like I attach my.
Yeah, you got to have the goats to pull all the market.
Stuff. Okay, but I can do these in any order. I could finish this before I finish this, or I could finish it after, or to be doing it at the same time. What happens when you actually do that? It looks like we have a little symbol disc here and a crate. Is that something we can explain now?
Yeah, so first you get a crate, which means you'll mark here that you have a crate, which is
because this is not on any of the sides of the dice.
It's not on any of the dice, no, and it's a wild that lets you treat it as any of the 6 main things. You can't use it as a hat, but you can use it as anything else.
Okay.
And those you actually can store from round to round. Only one though.
Right. So if you don't use it this round, it stays there.
It stays there.
I understand. Okay. Yeah.
And the other thing you get to do is you get to take another one of your discs and you get to place it here on the, I believe this is actually called the market track.
Okay.
And it gives you bonus points at the end of the game based on a certain thing. So I might say I'm going to get a point for every roof tile I have at the end.
Okay.
And the way that it works is it's always the number of players minus 1 is how many people can be on a spot. So in a 2-player game, if I go there, you can't go there anymore.
Understood. Yeah. Okay.
But in a 3-player game, 2 of us could.
Okay. Well, let's go through these quickly because I think we'll get back to some more questions here. We got about 20 minutes left in our live show here. I'll explain this one here. I think I know how this works. So if you can get 3 of the same, for example, in this case, 3 goats, you get to mark this in. This has to happen in a single turn, right?
Yep.
Then you just get to get a crate. So if you already had a crate, then you couldn't get this, right?
You could. Well,
you want to
spend the crate, but oftentimes you'll spend the crate to get 3 of a kind because
true.
Like getting 2 on a turn. We've had a couple times, but not the third one. So yeah, you'll usually end up using the crate to get another crate. So you kind of just keep exchanging your crates, I find.
And you get 2 points for each of these you filled in at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
All right, you explained workers to us, although you can see here, everybody, you get some points for filling in these workers. I filled in a worker here that doesn't give me any points, it just gave me the worker.
Yeah, and same with the roof. You'll get varying amount of points for how much of the roof you have completed.
This row here, although we didn't show it, is the same as the one underneath. I completed a column here. Well, if you complete this column, that's also worth 1 point. So every column you fill in, either this chart or this chart, will give you 1 point each, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess we did explain this business here.
Yeah.
So you said here 1 point for every hat, and down here these are just end game win conditions. So the workers have different things as well. This one's kind of an interesting one. I should have maybe grabbed this one as my worker to show you how it works. Once per turn, I can now shift one of my tokens that I have one direction or the other. That seems like a pretty good one.
It is.
It's like, I didn't get what I want, so I can mitigate some of the risk by having that to shift back and forth.
And that's another good example of how you can form 3 of a kind a bit easier too.
Right.
Or just get things that you need to get on a particular track. Yeah, being able to move them is pretty important.
So I think is that the whole game? Did we just explain it?
Yeah, that's basically the whole game.
Good. Okay, well there you go. There's a quick teach of no siesta. This is what they call now, I think, roll and write games. So there's a whole bunch of roll and write games that are coming. Quinto and Quicks and a whole bunch of other ones like it. So
yeah, and there's a bit more advanced version that has a bigger multitude of workers that do different things.
Oh, there's an advanced version of this?
Yes.
Oh. So what would you say? Different worker types?
Yeah, like in the basic version, we each get our own workers that are the same. But in the advanced type, there's a pool of workers in the middle that we pick from whenever we take workers.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it changes depending on the number of players.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Well, listen, if you had any questions about anything you saw there, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. But until next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We're coming back.
No, wait. Okay, so let's jump over here to the questions again. Actually, you know what? Let me just quickly, because we did some questions on the VDG Guild, so I'll ask a couple of them quickly. Todd Adair asks, or says, it's coming up on spring. Well, maybe not up in PEI. No, it's spring here too. Actually, we've had some sunny days here. Some snow has been melting as well as falling.
Yeah, spring hasn't quite sprung though.
Not quite. He says, to me, that means fresh and renewal and recycle and tabletop day. Do you guys ever, that means a lot of things to him. Todd asks, do you guys ever dig back up old games and do they feel fresh to you? Or do they sometimes feel outdated? I'll answer that quickly because I feel like I have a couple of very quick examples I can just mention. Yes, from time to time I do dig out old games, and in fact it's been happening more recently, and I've been really, really enjoying it. Partly because Christy at home has been more interested in learning some more of these games that I've been filling up our house with, And so I've been bringing out games like Zolkin, Mansions of Madness, Second Edition, which is an old game, but I've been able to get it back to the table more than I normally would because I've got someone there who wants to play it. And what other ones? Istanbul got back to the table, and then with all the expansions, we played that together. Viticulture. So these games, getting them back to the table has been really invigorating for me. I'm teaching someone new who's never played before, so I'm kind of vicariously experiencing it freshly through her eyes, which is a lot of fun. We have set up on the table right now Time Stories, the very first, the base game of Time Stories. I've played that 4 times now. This is a game you play it once, you never play it again. Well, I'm now my 4th play of it. It helps that I don't have a great memory. There's certain things I remember, but there's a lot of things I don't. And so, for me, it still is kind of fresh and new that way. And
play it once a year.
There's a nice gap between the last time I played it, and I have only played the expansion that comes in the box with it. I've only played that, so everything after that's going to be new to me. So I have all those other expansions, so I'm looking forward to actually getting to have new experiences with it. So yes, definitely getting old games. Now you did ask, do they sometimes feel outdated? Yes, sometimes I've played games that are new that are based on older versions, like, hey, we're re-releasing this older game, and they don't really update it. And sometimes I play those and I go, oh, I can really feel the age on this game.
Yeah, that situation's definitely happened to me. Playing twice, actually, in the same week. I ended up playing the first edition version of 2 different games.
Okay.
One of them I'll just say is Robinson Crusoe, because Portal Games is very open about the fact that the first edition is miles different than the second edition.
In terms of the rule book and stuff.
I love looking online where it goes one by one. It's like, rule book, like, barely understandable. Like, completely legible. And
I think he said in the Portal Games website, old rule book, useless.
Useless, yeah.
New rule book, very useful or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, and it was
very open
it was
about
so good. Yeah, it's so open about the changes. And, yeah, those I find, those don't hold up as well. But going back and playing old games, I do that every once in a while. And what you said, I think, is very important. If you're going to do it with someone who's never played the game in the first place, because then you kind of absorb their excitement of this new game. Because I've had the same thing pop out, something that other people haven't played before, and I thought,
maybe it would have been boring for you potentially, but it was a little more exciting because other people
hadn't played it. You
have a few oldies on this shelf.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to see, like, you have some older, and maybe they're not in the shot here, but like. Oh, look, there's Jenga.
There's Jenga.
But I don't know. I can't see myself. We have what's that Perpetual Motion or you should say
Perpetual Notion. It's right over there. Okay, we should play that on the show sometime.
We should play that on the show sometime.
It'll actually be fun.
Next live show, Perpetual Notion. We'll do it.
Don't let us forget.
Okay. All right. I'll answer this question very quickly. Zool42 wants to know, what did I do before Watch It Played? I had a small business called Marlboro Media. Website design, graphic design, some video work. Before that, I was with the federal government of Canada.
Oh, yes. I worked for a company, telecommunications company. We did customer support for cell phones. And I was workforce management, so I did all the scheduling and agent management and whatnot. For 10 years.
Jeremy, for 10 years even. That's about how long I worked at my federal government job. It was a little over 10 years, yeah. Jeremy Berger asked a question which I'm not going to answer, but I'm going to direct you to the answer.
Oh.
For the most part, will the game... I think what he's saying is, for the most part, he's going to be the game teacher amongst his friends.
Yeah.
Do we have advice to be an effective teacher? Well, we do talk about that. We have a Table Talk series. If you go to our channel... if you go under the playlists, you'll find Table Talk, and we do have some tips for teaching there. But in addition to that, Pep, you were recently on a podcast.
I was.
Help me, because it's
Great Way Games.
Great Way Games, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a bit new to me. I just subscribed to them recently. And Pep, you were on there, and the topic was teaching games.
It was teaching games, yeah, and some of the difficulties you come across.
Right, so if you're interested in hearing people talk about that, check out I think it's still their most recent episode. Was it episode 5?
I'm just episode 5,
pulling things out of my brain now.
And it was the most recent one. Well, at least the first time you watched this live show.
Okay.
I love making live show jokes. The Gaming Hobbyist asks, what are some upcoming releases that you are looking forward to? Not limited to tabletop games.
I'm terrible at this question now. I really am. There are certainly sometimes I have games I'm like, I'm looking forward to this. But right now, I feel like I've got such a deluge of games in the mirror, in the rear view mirror, that I'm going, I still haven't played this, I haven't played this, I haven't played this. I don't find myself as much of the time going, what are the 10 most exciting hot new games coming out, and what are they going to be? I'm just like, when they get in my view somehow, then I'll see them, but I don't have a lot that
I've got 3.
Oh, excellent. There you go.
So, first of all, technically 4, because Rising Sun was on there, and this is going to sound weird, I forgot about it. Now, not that I forgot that it existed or anything like that. I kind of forgot it was coming.
Yeah.
So I'd been so excited about it, posting artwork about it, looking up everything that came up, and then whenever I saw the Kickstarter was coming live, every time I thought back to, I'm excited about these new things, I forgot about Rising Sun. But Rising Sun's very excited. Near and Far.
Yes. Yeah.
So the successor to Above and Below.
Right. From Ryan Lockett.
Yeah. Mostly just because I want to sing Celine Dion every time I play it.
Okay.
Next up is Charterstone. I remembered the name literally in that exact second.
Add me to that list.
Yeah. I very much want to play Charterstone.
Yeah, me too.
And I very much want to know more about it. I feel like it's the one that I know the least about. I don't know if there's information or if I'm not trying hard enough. Oh, you know things. You know things.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is a game that's coming out very soon, from my understanding. And Terraforming Mars makes me think of the name because I was actually hoping you would say it.
First Martian.
First Martian.
Is it First Martian?
It is First Martian.
Yeah, it's the Portal Games game.
It's the Portal Games game?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, I'm
glad you mentioned it. See, that's my bad memory. I see these games, I get excited about them, and then I go, okay, what do I have to work on this week?
Normally I'm the same, but these 4 games
jumping out.
Have been jumping out to me for quite a while, and I'm very excited. And you know me, I don't really get all that excited about new games coming out.
You're pretty even keel.
Yeah, so these 4...
I'm really excited about Terraforming Mars. That's an older game, but I haven't got my own copy of it yet, and I really look forward to getting that to the table and playing it.
I agree. But those are the exciting ones, at least for board games, upcoming releases and other...
Oh, I'll mention one here. Clay asked, it relates to that, do you have a copy of Gloomhaven and have you played it? I don't have a copy and I haven't played it, and it's another one of those games like I just see this giant box with all kinds of things and I go, where am I going to fit this into my schedule to try? But I'm getting worn down. I'm getting pretty interested in it. I'm hearing lots of good buzz from people I like and respect, and so I'm like, okay, maybe this is something I got to check out. I almost think this is one that you're going to really dig.
Yeah, I haven't looked a lot into it, but I'm hearing similar things. Bob Chapman asked something that it's a funny question, but Canadians are too nice to foster the conflict needed for a good board game? ? Now, I just want to make a comment on that, and somebody later on definitely, kind of replied to that in the fact that some Canadians don't appreciate conflict.
Who said that?
I'm one of them.
Okay.
Some Canadians, but Jacob K makes very good note of the tales of how vicious Rodney is in Backstabbing Alex. And you have all these stories about backstab Marty all the time, and people you play with online. Let me tell you, I live not with him, but close to him. I play a lot of games with him. Rodney definitely backstabs every chance he gets. I think we play games that don't even feature the ability to backstab, and you're just watching.
I think the tales have been slightly exaggerated. There might be an occasional backstab here and there where it feels necessary, but I do.
I wake up feeling like I have a knife in my back almost every day, even when we're not playing games. I sense it coming.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to see what happens when you. Okay.
You're one of those people who kicks puppies in those games, like the games where you could be good or evil. Every once in a while, I feel like you're doing good things.
That's a very interesting point. In video games where you have the option of doing the moral, let's say, choice or the immoral choice or the more devious thing.
Yes.
I have a very difficult time playing dark, playing sinister, because I do kind of I want to be the hero of the story, and so I try to. If someone's a damsel in distress, I try to go save it. If someone needs the rats cleared out of their cellar, I'll go do it. It feels like that's who I want to be ultimately in the game, and I suppose ultimately in life.
You don't want to herd the rats into a swarm and become the rat king.
Exactly. Although that does sound cool when you say it, but once I get in front of the game, I'm like, oh no, my character's gonna have this permanently on their record. I have to do the good thing,
I almost always play those games. It's funny, I don't even ask this question, but I almost always play those games as myself.
Okay.
And so it's not necessarily that I always do the good thing. I always do whatever I feel I would do in the situation. And sometimes those things will come up where it's like, do you save this person? And I think in this particular instance, I wouldn't put myself out on the limb for this stranger I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
so I actually will be like, no, I don't save them. I don't think that's an acceptable risk, And so I don't play either good or evil.
You play Pep.
I play Pep, yeah. It tinges mostly towards good, I think, though. I don't ever remember having devil horns in any of these games.
Okay. So Volkova asked, does Rodney remember that he started in the basement with mansions? We supported you there. Yes, I do remember, because that's exactly where I still am. I continue to be in that same basement, in the same place. And even once we have our new set done, it'll be in the same place. I hope that that people know exactly how grateful I am for the support people have given us over the years. Man, we've got so many great questions here, and I can't believe the time. We're down to like almost 6 minutes left here.
Oh, no.
I see the talisman question, so I had gone back a little bit there. Maybe what I'll do, and I don't like to do this, but I'm going to jump down a little bit.
Yeah,
just because,
I was kind of doing that too.
Because I just for people who maybe joined a little later, I'll jump right to the end. Joey Kilgore asks, what are some good tips for running a board game club? Pat, maybe this is something you want to talk about. I mean, we did sort of start a board gaming club here in Montague, and then over time you've been the host of the place, so I kind of think of you as hosting the game group now. I don't think of myself as being quite as involved.
The title of host definitely shifted from you to me at one point. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly when it happened. But I
think because we used to meet in a public space, and then that became less attractive to us than meeting here in your apartment, I guess, right?
Yeah, because I moved into this new apartment, and it has just so much room. We honestly have more room in this apartment than I felt like we did at the Wellness Center where we played before.
A lot of tables, a lot of chairs here. And the nice thing about being in a public space was people could see us playing games and go, oh, what are you guys doing? And maybe express an interest. I don't think we ever really got somebody new to join us because of that. It was generally word of mouth through friends of friends that we already had, hey, why don't you come check this out?
Because it was a public space that was essentially like a hockey rink. There was also the library, so there's a possibility. But just the coming and going of people would usually be at the time of night where it wasn't.
Yeah, people are coming in with their hockey gear and leaving with it, and kids and all the rest.
Yeah, we had a couple people come and ask questions, but the nice part, and this is going to lead into the actual answer, is that they had food easily available when people were hungry. They're like, okay, we'll just grab this. So. Definitely a big tip for having any sort of a group is not necessarily that you need to provide food or you need to cook food or anything like that.
Encouraging people to bring food's not a bad idea.
But encouraging and just kind of knowing, like we do have a friend that almost always brings a veggie tray, for example. Yeah. So I wouldn't think to get one myself because I assume he's already going to have one. Someone will bring candy quite often.
Cakes, pastries sometimes show up,
Yeah, and we'll discuss ahead of time, if somebody wants food. If a couple people didn't have supper, like maybe we'll order some pizzas. So it's something that you kind of have to be aware of, the fact that people are going to come. If they're going to be staying for 5 or 6 hours, odds are people are going to want to eat or think about eating.
I think if you're looking to start and you don't know exactly who all your players are going to be, you're going to invite people over for the first time. My biggest tip is to pick games that are going to be light, friendly kind of games. The first games I brought to game group, well, some of them were like, I don't know if I would say Small World is a light game for someone who's like brand new to the hobby, but your King of Tokyos and games like that were some of the ones we played early on.
Yeah,
like
and party games, like Codenames exist
now. Those kind of games are good. They might not be the games that you most want to play because you're dying to play Terraforming Mars, but I do think you want to first get the buy-in of the group. And over time, what you discover is, this person seems like they're ready for something more. And that person seems like they definitely want to stay in the party game sphere. And then you kind of bring people in as they're ready, which I think is a good idea. I think the quickest way to kill the group is to have everyone show up, drop Scythe on the table.
Or Twilight Imperium.
Or something like that. And then everyone's like, I think video games are much more appealing. I just can sit there and play and my brain's not melting.
And it's all about the group size too, because I mean if you end up with a very large group of like 10 or 11 people, for example, which isn't necessarily very large, but 10 or 11 people, that means that you can actually pick and choose from the group who does enjoy that sort of thing.
Right.
Maybe you'll have 4 people who are very invested in playing something like Terraforming Mars, and then the other 7 are going to want to play a party game. 7 Wonders. There you go. I was just trying to do the math in my head. Like, did I subtract the right number there?
But yeah, I mean, it's taking on that responsibility is a great one because it helps share the hobby with more people potentially, which is wonderful. So.
I'm going to ask this one because
someone's making the very good point. We can go back to full screen.
Oh yes,
thank you for that.
Thank you. We weren't watching. So someone had a question that I think we're going to answer opposite, and I'm very excited for it. Racer Drago wants to know: chocolate milk or strawberry milk?
Did you jump ahead? Because I'm here.
I jumped to the middle. We're working in two different places.
Okay, sorry, that's fine. Sorry, what's the question? What are the
chocolate milk or strawberry milk?
Chocolate milk, no question.
Strawberry milk. A little question.
Fuchsia us.
And you'll get what our drink.
You get Neapolitan there almost.
Yeah.
That was what happened. We were having Neapolitan. Christy offered us Neapolitan ice cream.
Yes.
And the way it was in the box. Boxed ice cream is kind of funny. I feel like, is that a thing? Because we get ice cream in a box. Like we get milk in a bag too. You get milk in a bag here.
I get my milk in a box though.
Yeah, but ice cream in a box.
Not a literal box.
I don't see it.
A carton. We sound really weird now.
UPS shows up with your box.
Here's your milk. Well, kind of like some people get the bottles delivered to their door. I get boxes of milk.
Some people get boxes of games. You get boxes of milk.
Apparently.
Unboxing video. So the box of Neapolitan ice cream had specifically like a column of chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And Christy's like, "What do you want?" And you were like, oh, give me the strawberry. And I'm like, I like the chocolate. It was perfect because she kind of scooped chocolate into vanilla for me and strawberry into vanilla for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
That happened.
There's more to this exciting, thrilling story?
Well, yeah, there was also warm brownies.
Do you realize I just spent time on the live show telling a story about scooping ice cream? I'm so sorry, everybody. Okay. It's a good thing it's almost over. I feel bad for all of you. All right.
Boris Caro wants to know, sorry, it was your turn. If
fine.
You had the opportunity to design a game, what would be the subject?
I don't know. I tell you something. I almost spend no time thinking about designing games. I remember early on when I was listening to a lot of podcasts, I'd hear over and over again, everybody has a game in them. Everybody wants to design a game. Actually, it's funny. The other day I was driving the car and I did turn on my voice recorder and then say some things into it over game mechanics I thought might be interesting in a game. But I don't really spend any amount of time actively thinking about it, honestly. I know you spend a lot of time, or you have spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Sure, yeah, I do. And I'm just going to mention the one that most recently churned through my head that I'm trying to think about is the idea of all the resources in the game belonging to a particular player. So the idea would be, it's essentially like a village, for example. Chris has all the food, I have all the wood, you have all the stone.
Yeah.
And then in order to build things and interact, we're forced to trade with each other and mitigate how much. And I think when you take actions, it would pour some of that into like the center that the other players now have access to. But the point is, you start the game with everything. Right. And you have to adjust from there and work around it. So each one would obviously be asynchronous play. Like as the coin bearer, you'll have to figure out very much how to manage the money of the town.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Kemet has lots of interesting ideas. Almost every time you come with an idea, it's like, well, actually, this leads into what Todd Adair here said in the BGG Guild. He said, do you see the trend of taking old games and putting a new skin theme on them continuing? Not so much that you take old games and like go blah. No, I definitely. But sometimes it feels like a twist on something like, oh, I hadn't thought of coming at the game from this angle, and you've like everyone has I have all the wood, or you have all the stone or whatever.
I feel like sometimes when people want to make a game, like had been asked, what's the subject, and that's the thing is, I don't often think of games that way. I don't think of like this is what I want to make. Here's a mechanic around it, and then add the mechanic to it. I think of the mechanic first, and then think. With the only exception being, I found a box that has. Let's pretend this is important written on it. Okay. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, I also want to turn this into a party game of some sort. Because just the title, Let's Pretend This is Important. I'm like, how can I make this into something? So I had an idea for a legacy party game.
It does seem like a party-style game name, even.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
So I had the idea for like a legacy party game that I'm tinkering around with in that too, but it's difficult.
Vakova asks, how do you feel now about ads in Patreon? Oh, maybe you mean about like Watch It Played using ads in Patreon? I have YouTube ads turned on older content. I turned it on a while ago just to see what kind of financial chunk of change I'm not collecting because I don't have ads turned on. I should mention I have no ads turned on any of our how to play videos. Doesn't matter how old they are, and those are the videos that get the most views. I only turn ads on stuff that's a month old. So if you watch our stuff up to date within a month, you'll never see ads on our channel.
Okay.
All right, but I did turn it on to see what kind of, money you generate from that sort of thing. And I will just say, because you're not allowed technically to talk about what kind of money you make, YouTube has a thing about you're not supposed to say.
Okay.
I think because they don't want, I don't know exactly what the reason is behind it. But anyway, it's not much money. I think if you're somebody who is putting out tons and tons of videos, and if I had ads turned on all of the how to play videos, it might accumulate into something that could feed a small animal or something. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Okay, I think I got to the end of the questions. I jumped so far down.
Yeah, and I mean, I was reading some in the middle, but...
I got one from Lee Smith. Question, does Luke want a Nintendo Switch? He came home today very much excited about the idea of buying a Nintendo Switch.
I feel bad. I feel like I did that to you. Because remember a few days ago, the two of you were in there, and I just said, do you guys have any interest in the Nintendo Switch? And he kind of he looked around a bit, and he's like, yeah, I've been thinking about it a little bit, and so I'm worried I sparked that.
No, I think he's been watching some YouTubers talking about the Zelda game and stuff, and I think the problem with the Nintendo Switch right now, if we want to call it a problem, is that there is just not a lot of games in the catalog, which is often true for most systems when they first launch. But
I've literally only heard things about Zelda.
Right, they only seem to have Zelda right now, so it's a pretty expensive game of Zelda. Yeah. When you don't know. Will there be a lot of other games?
It looks like a fantastic.
Oh, the reviews have been phenomenal for it.
Zelda. Yeah.
So he's very keen to play that. And because we're going on this trip, he'd love to get the Switch before we go, so we could take the little small part of it on the plane and be able to play. Because he saw the ads for the Switch and they show someone playing Zelda on the plane or whatever. Because you don't have to you don't have to have television. You can just play on the little portable part of it. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm. Yeah.
And he works with Watch It Played, so he earns some money, and so he saved up some and he has enough to pay for it, basically.
Yeah, that's how I'm getting mine.
Right. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Again, it's like you said, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of things going on with it right now. I've heard a few rumors of what's coming.
There's Luke right there.
Oh, hi, Luke.
Hi, Luke. You just heard us talking about the Switch. Yes. So me and Christy are going into town tomorrow, so we'll take a look around to see. But I think it's sold out most likely.
I was going to say hey, let's ruin the surprise for Luke right now.
I felt bad. Luke came home kind of excited, and I was saying to him, Luke, I don't think we're going to be able to find one just because the availability has been somewhat low if you didn't pre-order. But I'm not trying to take the wind out of his sails. I just want to prepare him.
I got a good one for you.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Dave Zokvik wants to know what are the best and worst parts of living on PEI.
And this is the last question that we'll be answering.
Uh-oh.
What are the best and worst parts?
Yeah.
I would say let's start with the worst for me. The winter when it's when you get to the winter time and it's cold and the snows come, everything shuts down around here. So if you want to go to some of the nicer restaurants that might be open during the summertime, during tourist season, they're all shut down. So you're kind of limited to McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Wendy's. That's not true. There are some other restaurant options, but I mean, some of those things shut down. It is kind of a little deader. If you're into winter sports and stuff, it's great. I don't do a lot of that anymore. So
you could say when you're living here, it's almost like the dead of winter.
I'm saying that's one of the worst things, but it's that's not a big deal. I've always lived in a winter climate during the winter, so.
Yeah, my worst things are pretty similar. It's it's just the winter climate. It can be particularly harsh here, but it seems to decide to do nothing for months. You have winter, and then just has crazy storms for 2
big
weeks.
Dumping, yeah.
And the thing is like you said, it's a tourist location. Mm-hmm. So during the summer, there's a lot of things that are available, and it's very booming. And during the winter, it does shut down a little bit.
Kind of ideal time for board games, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Winter, right?
It's true. You can kind of hibernate during the winter and do your own thing. But
some of the nice things about the place is because it's an island, we have nice beaches here.
Oh yes, so many beaches.
Yeah, if you're into golf, there's a lot of world-class golf courses around here. Because the island is small. And we particularly live in a small community. I think there are some friendliness advantages there. People tend to be. There's a lot of nice, friendly people. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You get you get the small town thing too, where especially if you come from away, everyone else is connected, and you're on the outside for a good portion of the time, right?
True. Yeah, and it's the same thing too, where like it's nice that everybody's there and everybody's friendly, but it's also bad in its own way where everybody's there and everybody's friendly.
People can get in your business, I guess, a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a little bit less privacy.
Yeah.
But no, like you said, beaches. Just the scenery is just lovely.
Yeah.
Go for a walk on the trail, and you see a lot of beautiful.
Yeah, there's nice little walking trails. I mean, we don't have mountains or things here.
No, it's very flat. Yeah,
flat.
I think 500 meters is our highest elevation.
Yeah. And we're the home of Anne of Green Gables, if that matters to you, if you like that story. But yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I like living here.
I do too, and I would love to.
I don't plan to be here my whole life, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure if I will be either. I see it for the foreseeable future anyway. Like, I think as long as Luke's in school, then we'll definitely stay here. Who knows, maybe we'll stay here even longer. But I'd love to do a convention here at some point, like a small convention. Just to get some people maybe over to the island who wouldn't normally come, but maybe who live in some of the other nearby provinces would come over and be like, oh, hey, hanging out in Prince Edward Island, check out the sites or whatever and play some games, maybe at some point.
Do it on the beach.
Do it on the beach. Games flying, pieces going everywhere. It'd be delightful.
It would be.
Well, listen, guys, thanks again for joining us for another live show. This has been a lot of fun. It's been crazy again. We really are going to get very polished with these things as they go on. Someday.
And we can make jokes about, how rough some things are, but we've definitely polished it as it goes along.
We're trying. So thanks for your tolerance as we work through the kinks. But otherwise, listen, until the next episode, and I'll wait for you to swallow.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. All right, here we go. See you, everybody.